Hi, scrappy friends. Welcome to my video and welcome to another edition of what I like to call Borders to Pages. And if this is the first time you're here, let me explain what we do. We take this 110 scrapbooking border ideas and sketchbooks that Creative Memories put out a few months back, and we pick a sketch and we create the border, and then we take that border and we turn it into a layout. Sometimes I make a single page layout and sometimes I make a double page layout. You don't have to have this book to follow along. I know this book is awesome because it's all spiral bound and it has everything in one place, but most, if not all, of the borders in this book can be found on the Creative Memories blog. So you can always look there for tons of inspiration. Just type in the word border and you're going to find a lot more than 110. Okay, so this was a promotional item that came out last fall. It sold through very quickly. It was very popular, so I am really hoping that they're going to make this like an annual thing and keep bringing out different sketchbooks for us. So for today, we are going to work over on page 68, and we are going to create this border right here. And I will go ahead and pop that up on the screen for you so we could take a closer look. I feel like this is a pretty simple border this time. It consists of a base and then two layers. The base and the first layer are just simple paper cuts, and then the top layer is a border punch out. So you can use any of your border making cartridges or any of your border punches and cut out a chain style border to go across as your top layer. So what's really fabulous about this border is that fabulous cluster that they have going on. We all love our clusters on our pages, and this time we get to do it on a border. So that is pretty special. So I love this border. I love its simplicity, but I especially love that border. So come on back to my desk and I'll show you what I'm going to use. So for the border today, I'm going to use the new Setup Camp collection, and I've already cut into this collection a little bit. In fact, if you didn't know this, I do this same series over on my Facebook page. I try and do at least once a month, do a border from the book, the same idea where I'm creating a page. A lot of times I do it a little bit quicker where I have things already cut out and I'm just assembling just to make the videos a little bit quicker. So I do once a month over on Facebook, and then I try and do at least once a month over here on YouTube. So by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have about 24 of these sketches made into pages completed. The border that I made this month over on Facebook, I used the same collection and I made a wonderful hiking page. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and jump over there and check it out. I'll have the link to my Facebook page in the description of this video. So let's look at the papers. I have some scraps, like I said, and I have some scraps of some dark hot cocoa brown. Goes great with this collection. And I have this scrap. Now I cannot remember the name of this. I can't remember what collection it came with, but I got it in something, and they don't have this in a big pack, but I have this and I have one more full-size sheet of this. But anyway, it's like an olive green. Again, it goes really good with this collection. Wish they had that in the normal line. Then I have this gorgeous little arrow icon. It's like a tone-on-tone paper. This is what I'm going to use for part of my base pages. I have this beautiful green with this colorful gingham on the back, and then I have another piece of full-size cocoa brown and a white for part of my background as well. So for this border, we already identified that it's a base and two layers. And on the base and the first layer, it's just a straight cut. Now you can add a technique to this. You can give it a paper tear. You can put it through one of your edge punches. But I'm going to follow this part along just for the simplicity. And these two pieces happen to be some scrap I had that are going to work out perfectly. This brown is a 2-inch by 12-inch cut. And this colorful gingham piece is 1.5 by 12 inches. So it's going to layer right on top of the brown, and it's going to have just a nice amount showing on both sides. Now, if we look at the inspiration in the corner, you'll see that the top layer is the punch out that we were talking about earlier. And what they did was they punched out 2 identical border strips, and they did the shadow effect. Now, we've talked about this before, but I'm going to walk you through it again. So basically, you punch out one color and then you punch out a darker color to go behind to make it a shadow. So let me show you how that's done. Now, this is where you would want to bring in any of your theme items. So in the inspiration, it's a fall border, so they chose to use a fall flower punch. And I could have done that since I want to do a camping. We're going to do a Girl Scout trip to a cabin camping event, and I could have used things like the hiking boots or the tree line or any of the nature related punches that we have, but I decided to do something a little more generic, and I'm going to bring in Wispy, this border making cartridge. It's somewhat new. I love this cartridge. I feel like I haven't played with it enough, and this one just came to my mind, and I just want to keep it a little more generic and a little bit more straightforward. So I'm going to do this one, and I'll be punching it out in the olive green that I showed earlier, as well as the dark hot cocoa brown. So let me put this aside for a moment and bring in my border making system. And if you don't know how to use this system, I do have a video that talks just about this, and it's in the basics playlist on my channel. So if you just go to playlist and look through the basics, you'll see how to use the border making system. So I'll make one of each, a green and a brown. In fact, I'm going to make 2 of each because I might want to use one on the second page. So I'm going to put you on fast forward while I get this all punched out. Okay, hold on. Now we just want to get these adhered together to show that shadow effect. So for this, you probably really want to use your repositionable tape. So I'm just going to bring in my silicone mat. And now you'll see on this one, I kind of had it a little off center, but that's okay. I think my plan for the second page, I might not need a whole strip, or maybe the whole strip won't be showing. So it's going to work out just fine. So first thing we want to do is align them, do a dry fit to make sure. And you want to kind of just take one color that you want on the top and put it over the second one and just slightly offset it so that you have that shadow a look. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. So you see how it gives it the green a little bit of a shadow. So in this case, I'm using the dark brown as the underneath. Dark colors like black, navy, they all work really well for this technique. Okay, so let me just put a little bit of, so what I did was I flipped it over, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on this all the way down. And the repositionable really gives me that flexibility to be able to move it and adjust it as I need it. So I'm just going to line it up so that I have a little bit of a shadow all the way. And for this particular look that I'm going to do for this layout is I just really need it on the bottom. But if you wanted to do the top, you could just cut out two rows of the brown and then do the same thing on the top. But I really love that look, and you see how that just made a huge difference. Let me bring in my white paper. It made such a dramatic effect compared to the single one. And I love doing that, so I'm so excited to be doing that again on this layout. I have everything ready, so let's assemble the border. So I'm going to take my base, and adhere my first layer. Again, it's about midway. And then I'll take one of the chains and I'll just put it straight down on top like that. Bring my mat back in. I don't like doing that on my table surface. Okay. And again, right in the middle. Looking pretty good. This one we'll save for the second page. But let's bring in our embellishments. So I'm using, of course, the die cuts and the sticker pack from the Setup Camp collection. Some great camping icons in here. So these are the ones I've decided on for this layout. This is a cute cabin, and it almost looks exactly like the cabin that we were in the photos that I'm going to have on this page. So I just think that's wonderful. So I'm going to put it here for now, probably at an angle. Now in theirs, they kind of offset it. I kind of like that look, so I'm going to do the same. This was a sticker. I went ahead and took the stickiness off the back, and I thought it was perfect. Gives me the perfect title. And of course, our borders are always a perfect place to house our titling. So in our inspiration, you'll see that it's just kind of a burst of embellishments. And so that's kind of the effect that I want to create as well. This is another sticker. And so here's this one. I really love the colorfulness of it. It goes so well with the paper choice. And this one I kind of want up higher and protruding off of the border. So that's the look I'm going for. And then I'm just going to bring in something down here on the bottom where we were kind of up in the mountains a little bit. So I want to have some pine needles. And then I have these pine trees, which I want to attach just like this over the cabin and the title. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. So super simple, so easy, but yet it's going to add quite a bit to this layout. So let me get this adhered and we'll be right back. There we go. Simple, easy peasy, right? So I do want to bring in just a couple things. I want to, this set came with some great enamel pieces, and I really want to incorporate those. I'm looking at the green. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the green enamel dot and place it right there. Let's see, there's another green one on this one. Maybe I could place it down here. I feel like I need one more. Let's go with the brown one somewhere. Let's put the brown one. Maybe, yeah, right there. There we go. So just added a couple little bit of finishing touches before I even get to my layout. So yep, I'm loving that. So let's begin our layout. So for that, I'm gonna first bring in the white tone-on-tone little arrows. And I think it's kind of a directional sheet. Maybe not. The arrows are going different ways, so it probably wouldn't matter. But there's some bigger block arrows, and I kind of want those facing down. Okay, so my plan is to have my border at the top. And then I'm going to bring in that orange scrap that I had. This scrap is 5 by 12. And I'm going to place that right here at the bottom. I do want to conserve my paper and get this same print over onto the next page. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to take off 5 inches from this tone-on-tone white paper, because I love this paper and I'm not ready to use it up, because not only is it super cute on this side, oops, let me straighten that out. The reverse side is also very cute. It has all those cute little camping icons, so I don't want to cut into both of my pieces for this project. I'm also going to bring in my gray mat to help me align, and I will put the 7-inch chunk at the top, the 5-inch chunk at the bottom, and then I will weld those together on the back with a piece of cardstock. So it will look like this, and I'm going to bring that down just low enough so it doesn't go off the edge. So that's our first page, and I'm going to slide it aside, and I'm going to bring in my second gray mat so that we could kind of have them both here. I'll slide that back in a moment. And I'm going to bring in the white piece of cardstock there, and I'm just going to be wallpapering. First thing I want to do is bring in that scrap of brown that I had, and that's going to go right here at the top. Now at the bottom here, I really wanted to bring in some more color to match my border as much as I could. So let me bring this in, and I'm going to use this beautiful green paper. It has pine needles all over it, and the back is that colorful gingham. I'm going to do 1.5 inches, and the reason I'm going to do 1.5 inches by 12 is because my center strip up there was 1.5 inches. Okay, I think if I put it with the colorful side down here, that looks pretty good. Let's bring in our white paper, line it up. I'll have a little bit of an overlap on the brown, and I like that, but I think what I'm going to do is to flip it over and use just the green. Yep, I'm going to flip it over. Well, let me get this welded together, and then this adhered onto the white piece of paper, and we'll be right back to do our photo placement. Okay, hold on. So there's my page layout so far, and before we get into photo placement, I would like to bring in this second chain of Wispy that I had, and I'm going to lay it right over here for now, and maybe play with it a little as far as moving it up or down as we go through doing our photo placement. But it's going to go right about there. It ties in our border with the second page, so that's pretty good. And then I want to bring in a border strip. I'm thinking this is very colorful. I like it. We are talking about a Girl Scout trip, so I like the additional colors and the pinks and the blues. So I thought that this one right here would be a great way to kind of tie in the colors to this second page. So I'm going to bring this in and just use it to cover up the seams, and that's what I want to do with both of these strips, is to get them to cover up that seam where I welded together or wallpapered the page. Okay, so let's bring in the photos. I do have a couple of the faces covered up. Most of them you can't really recognize their faces, but I didn't need to cover them, but on a couple I did. So I'm going to put 2 down here. Now I had room for 4x6s. I did trim a little bit so that they would fit nicely here. So I'm going to do two 4x6s down here, and then up here in this center area I'm going to do 2 4x4s, and I'm going to save some space here for my journaling. Now look at this. You see the inside of this cabin. This was back in 2008, but you can see the inside is the decor was very 70s-ish, and I think the orange and the browns matched exactly. I wish I had a picture of the front of the cabin, but I didn't, so not from this trip. So I'm gonna do that, leave a spot here for my journaling. When we were there that weekend, it was our first trip out for the year, and we were practicing a lot of our skills. That was the whole point of the trip. So we have practicing the flag, learning some outdoor cooking, hiking. We did a lot of stuff that weekend. So great times. Okay, and then here I will put these 2 photos and then save some room for embellishing over here. My idea is to have this big cluster here and then have another big cluster right over here. Now for photo mat, what I'd like to do is bring in some green, and I'm going to bring in this beautiful green this was from last year's one of the Totally Tonal paper packs, the green hues, and I love this shade, so I'm going to use this to cut mats for all 4 of the bigger photos. Through the magic of editing, I got those pictures matted, And I also got them adhered down, as well as I got these adhered down. These are still loose so that I can play with the embellishing. So let's take a look at our embellishing and where we're at. So I'm very pleased with this embellishment cluster up here. Obviously, that's our main focus, was our border for today. So that's going to be my main embellishment cluster, and it has the title included right there. So I have my title, and then next I would want to bring in a spot for my journaling. So I could either go here or here, and what I'm going to do is bring in, this is from the embellishment pack for this collection, and I loved these field notes. I thought that was super cute, so appropriate for this Girl Scout outing when we were just learning all the basics. We were going to try out for a big competition that year, and so there was a lot of requirements they had to learn. So yes, there was a lot of note taking, so I thought that was perfect. I'm going to add a few embellishments there as well. So first thing I want to bring in is trail sign punch, and I want to cut a little trail sign. Let's see if this will fit. That's super cute. So I'll probably say the name of the camp here and then the word cabin there. I think that would be cute. Kind of customize it for this layout. Then I want to bring in this sticker from the sticker sheet, and it's a compass, which is again appropriate because that was yet another thing they were learning that weekend, was how to read compass and find their way using a compass. That will be appropriate, and it's going to go right there at the bottom of our sign. I probably will just come back with a little bit of finishing touches, and then that area will be done. Now I just need to work over here because I'd like to put a cluster here in this corner. So I'm going to bring in, this came from the embellishment pack. I love this. Once again, I'm going to make a reference to what they were learning that weekend, and they were learning how to do some knot tying. So I feel like between the embellishments and the photos, I am touching on a lot of different things that they did this weekend. So I want this to be down here somewhere, but I do want to back it with some of this dark brown to bring in some of that over there. So I'm going to add that to the back to kind of fill in the frame area instead of having it expose the paper from our background. And then we'll place it right here. And this is going to be a great embellishment cluster area. Okay, so now let's work with these photos. I could go very linear like I did up here. In fact, yeah, I'll do that. Instead of having those at an angle, I will keep everything pretty straight and uniform to how it was over here. So what are we going to embellish with here? This collection is perfect for scouting and camping, staying in a cabin, lots of outdoorsy things. So I brought in some of these great icons. So with Girl Scouts, they're always earning badges, always earning patches. We would never do anything, any activity, if we weren't actually working on an additional badge. So if we were here practicing for this big event, we were also earning badges along the way. So I thought some of these were pretty fun to include. So I thought that this Junior Ranger. So I'm just going to kind of play with it over here and see if I can get all of these in. I thought this little first aid patch was super cute. Of course, the squirrel. The kids loved the nature. They loved being around the nature, so it's like, why not include the little squirrel? In fact, I'm gonna put the squirrel right here, so he's kind of looking at the table of food right there, because you know they were not allowed to feed the squirrel. And something like that, and then the little first aid, and then of course a camera, because then there's me and taking photos, of course, right? Of course, there's other moms and chaperones there as well taking photos. So it'll go something like this. That'll be great. I love having all those different icons just clustered together there, representing the weekend and the trip. So if you are liking this video and this series, especially the series, let me know by clicking that like button, giving me a thumbs up. That really helps to spread this content to other scrappy friends, and I really appreciate it, and I thank you for that. But also, if you're liking this series, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if I should continue or if there's anything different you would like to see. I really do read all the comments, and I do appreciate reading what you have to say. So what we are going to add last is we're going to bring back in these enamel dots and see if there's anything else that we could add. I think this is maybe needs a little something. Let's see what we have. The fire's cute because, again, we were learning how to build fires. This is only a portion of the photos I had from that weekend. You guys are probably going to see these come up again. I haven't made Girl Scout albums for my daughters, and I haven't decided if I was going to, because I was their Girl Scout troop leader for about 5 years, so I have a ton of photos, and we did a lot of family events. So this particular one is going to go into my family album. So that's why I kind of focused in on the photos that included my daughters and myself, so that this can go in my family album and I can tell the story there. Then if I ever get back to any of the other ones, I probably would let them decide what that would be. But anyway, little side note there. I'm kind of liking this little green asterisk looking thing, and I probably will put it right there after I write the name on the sign. Yeah, I like that. A little bit of, brought some green in down here. Now I'm just looking to see what color I need over here, and I think we might look for some green also. Here's another green asterisk. We have the orange. There's some yellow. I think we have yellow. Let's try this one. It's kind of greenish, maybe blue, but let's bring it in and see if we like it. And I probably would just do something like that. Yep. See, I have 5 in there now, and adding that 5th one just really made it pop. So that's perfect. As far as my embellishing goes, I'm going to keep it simple and to the point. When we use a border, that is one of the beauties of using a border, is that it is our main embellishment area. So I'm going to kind of keep, this one came out pretty big over here too. I love it. I love doing that technique where you have your border on one side and over here just another big corner embellishment. So I am happy on how that turned out. And then I just sprinkled a few more icons there. So I'll get this all adhered down, and that will be my layout. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I feel like I succeeded once again on this borders to pages idea, where we took this very simple border, and I hope that you can see how you can take this simple border and turn it into something that would fit the theme or the layout that you're doing. So I took the border and created it with a whole new theme and a whole new color spread, created a 2-page simple layout. Feel like it worked out very well for me. So that's it for today, everybody. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.